So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. I don't know what I'm going to do today. I don't know. If you hear something in the background, that's my dryer. I'm drying some clothes. I cleaned up my condo today. Well, yesterday I cleaned up, and today I finally cleaned up my bathroom. It really didn't need a whole lot of cleaning up because I pretty much stay on top of my housework because since I'm the only one in the house that does housework, mopping, wiping things down, disinfecting, you know. And I got up, took me a shower, and I know the last time you all heard from me, I was pretty upset with my mother, and ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't no such thing as a queen who's a crack fiend. And I know that that is the national anthem of the black community, but I want to revisit that for a moment because I want to be clear about something. This is not about a gender. This is not about gender. This is about biological, chemical, and psychological warfare. And the rest of us who have to sit on the sidelines as sitting ducks and be predisposed and exposed to these types of people. Now, I just so happen to talk about my mother because at one time she was on crack and she still has those crackish patterns and ways in how she acts. Because what crack does, not only does it affect your kidneys and other major organs in your body, but what it does is it also, if you already have any type of mental going on, it magnifies it. It makes it worse. So if you already are dealing with bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, those drugs make it worse. But we live in a world where people self-medicate themselves and they don't go to a trained shaman or shamanist to find out what's really going on. And that's what I really want to talk about. YouTube has become a cesspool for crackheads, drug addicts, and dysfunctional people. And we live in a world where we are told in whispers, you can't be judgmental or you shouldn't be judgmental. Well, guess what? I'm going to start being judgmental. I'm going to start being judgmental because I'm watching too many good people have to suffer and go through things that they shouldn't have to go through because of crackheads, weirdos, and outcasts of society that should not be in the main public. But we live in a world now where they have romanticized bad behavioral patterns and they've turned them all into, oh, they just have a disability. So we just have to understand them. We have to give them, some assistance. We have to, be supportive of them, even though they're beating people up, even though they're stalking and harassing people, even though they're causing problems for people to make money, even though they're doing this and doing that, even though they are affecting other people's lives in a negative way. It's not that these people have power, but it's just that they have principalities backing up their bad behavior. So we can't judge them. We have to understand them and we have to support them. Bullshit. We can't be judgmental. Bullshit. You know, Classism exists for a reason, and I don't give a fuck who gets mad about what I'm saying. Classism exists for a reason. The reason that me and my mother clash so much is because I have class and she does not. And it doesn't matter if it's a family member, it doesn't matter who it is. If you are of a certain echelon, class wise, and another person is not, you and that person are going to clash. My mother has no class. And I had to realize that she has no class. So, right there, there's going to be an enmity or there's going to be a conflict of interest right there, then and of itself. I have class and opulence. She does not. And we have to stop romanticizing these ideas of what it means to be a crackhead, even if they get off of it. Because once you're a drug addict, you're an addict for life. Once you open up that door, you can never close it. That is why they have to go to AA meetings and drug meetings and all of those things. Now, I commend the people that can put their lives back together and make amends and do the things that they're supposed to do. But we're not talking about those types of people. We're talking about people who are in social media. Some of them have very large platforms, and these people come from backgrounds of substance abuse. They come from backgrounds of being violent, whether it be physically violent or emotionally violent. And these are the people that YouTube puts in the right algorithm. These people promote hatred on their platforms, they promote genocide on their platforms. And genocide is not just what people think. They promote gentrification, they promote poverty, they promote harassment, they promote stalking. And these are the people that YouTube allows to make money on their platform while they shadow ban people like me and other people like me who speak real and speak right. And we're not supposed to say anything about that, right? No, we're going to have church today. We're going to talk about some things today. We're not supposed to say anything about those things, right? We're supposed to remain silent and just take whatever abusers throw at us. YouTube is an abuser. They support abuse on their platform. So much so that people that I know and that I like are talking about no longer promoting their business on their platform. And I'm only giving my own, I'm not trying to speak for anybody else, but I'm giving my own, experience on this. I remember years ago, many years ago, when I used to do on my old channel from years ago, when I used to do reviews on reality shows and stuff like that, and I would do reviews on pop culture. By now, I probably would have about 1 million subscribers by now. But Wendy Williams and Bravo, the Bravo network that houses the Housewives of Atlanta, Andy Cohen, and all them motherfuckers, Wendy Williams and all of them, they attacked my channel. Wendy Williams imaging consultants reached out to me because I used an image of her, which was a public image, showing that she wasn't in the best health. That is when she fell out on stage back in 2017. In 2018, They decided to come after my channel. Wendy Williams, Imaging. I still have the emails and Bravo because I used a thumbnail. I used a thumbnail of one of the reunions. I believe it was for the Married to Medicine reunion years ago. I used a thumbnail and they decided to come after me and they threatened me with legal action. But yet they allow people to stalk, harass, promote all types of debauchery here on their platform, and they don't say anything about that. Real people can't make money on YouTube. Real people can't make money unless you are beefing, battling, or belittling. Beefing, battling, or belittling. That's the only way you can make money on YouTube. Or if you're a fake spiritualist, telling people just what they want to hear. That's the only way you can make money on YouTube. Or stalking, I guess. YouTube promotes that. They don't mind promoting that. And I'm not attacking YouTube, the entity. What I am attacking is the laxy daisy responses of the human beings who are in position and place to do something about what's going on in social media, especially YouTube. But yet, YouTube is always talking about creating a safe space for children. How can you create a safe space for children when you can't even create a safe space for the adults that are on this website? And I got tongue tied saying it because it's absolutely insane what's going on in social media. YouTube, they blacklist certain people. I'm one of the people that they blacklisted, but I'm not the only one. They blacklist you so people can't pay attention to the things that you say. They don't want people to listen to people like me because I keep it real and I keep it right. And I talk about real issues. They don't want people paying attention to wise women, real wise women. I'm not talking about with all of the graphics and all of the, dramatics and theatrics. No, I'm talking about real wise women who do real work, real spiritual work, and they put their heart and their soul into it. They don't want people to, they don't want people like that in the algorithm that will draw views to their channel. And it's not just about the views, it's about the value and the respect that people deserve. So you mean to tell me that they allow or they don't blacklist channels that have promoted nudity, revenge porn, child stuff. They don't blacklist those channels. They don't blacklist them. But you blacklist people who have legitimate businesses that they're trying to promote on their platform. You blacklist them. That's why I don't really promote my spiritual business anymore. Unless somebody finds me simply by finding me through email and other platforms I've been on, I don't promote it anymore because I don't. If spirit wants me to help somebody, I'm gonna let spirit do it. I'm gonna let spirit lead me to whoever I need to help if I can help them. YouTube has become a cesspool for the deranged and the mentally insane. And we're not supposed to say anything about that. They want us to just be quiet and don't say anything. And if you say the wrong thing, they'll flag your channel. A lot of times people think that it's human beings flagging their channel. It's not human beings. YouTube has an AI automatic entity that will go through your videos and flag certain videos because they did the same thing to me when I talked about Brother Polite. And the video that I had uploaded in reference to the whole Brother Polite situation, they said that that video was a threat to the YouTube community, basically, in layman's terms. But the man that I was talking about was a whole threat, not only to the YouTube community, but a threat to children as well. But yet, my video talking about a public incident, a public affair that was publicly known about the allegations made against Brother Polite, YouTube, because I was breaking it down, the symbology, the spirit, and all of that, YouTube said that I was in violation of YouTube guidelines because I was talking about this unclassy, degenerate Brother Polite. Because that's what he is. He's a degenerate. But that's what YouTube allowed to get big on their platform. They allowed him to use their platform to get big. And then when people spoke out against the allegations that were surfacing about him, instead of them making a correction and saying that we don't support this type of stuff on our platform, they decided to come after me because I simply said what I said in that video about Brother Polite and those allegations. They flagged my video, but that flag, it's gone now. That's why I don't say too many controversial things anymore, or I try not to. But I'm going to speak my motherfucking mind. And if I want to talk about my mother, if I want to talk about crack, if I want to talk about the entity of crack, if I want to talk about how it destroys people, I'm going to talk about it. Crack has become a universal destruction. It's a universal destroyer. It's a universal entity that destroys people. And they don't want us to talk about it. They want to mix crackheads in with people that have class. I can always spot when someone has been on crack, even if they're not on it anymore, because that nastiness, that griminess, it stays with them. Crackheads are grimy and nasty, at least the ones that I know, at least the ones I was around growing up, even in my family, my mother being one of them. Grimy, just nasty. Now, my mother never stole anything from anyone, but that crack, every time they took a hit, whether it was from a woody, which is when you sprinkle it on your marijuana, or whether it's through a pipe, that crack takes their soul and you never get it back. You never get your soul back after that. And it makes them, I'm going to say, susceptible to possession. And all forms of spiritual parasites. I'm learning this more and more. My mother is under possession. That is why she acts the way that she does. She is under possession. People that smoke crack, they are under possession. They're opening up gateways in their spiritual portals that are allowing parasitical energies to come in, and they're inviting them in to invade. Then you got stupid motherfuckers on YouTube telling people you shouldn't mess with tarot cards because tarot cards are a gateway to getting possessed by demons. But don't none of you motherfuckers talk about the drugs that people use. That is a gateway for people to get possessed. And of course, it's a Christian who talks in that language. That's their language. But they don't talk about all the Christians in the church that are on crack. There's nothing worse than a crackhead Christian. They are some of the most disgusting, hateful people that you would ever have the pleasure of coming across. And they're the type of people that will make you get a case. I was having a conversation with someone, changing gears for a moment. I was having a conversation with someone, and they were talking about Jesus. And what I really realized about Jesus, when you listen to the wording of the Bible and Christianity, the people that worship Jesus, that's a cult. That's a cult. And I don't understand how people have not figured this out yet. That's a cult. That is a cult because it deviates away from the great high spirit, which people call God, right? It deviates away from that to putting your faith in a man telling you no one goes to the Father but me. In order for you to get to the Father, and I'm not a Christian, but I'm just examining the lunacy. Nobody gets to the Father but me. Do this in remembrance of me, which is the Holy Communion, where you symbolically eat the flesh, or eat the body, and the flesh, and drink the blood of Christ. That's a cult. That is some deviant, disgusting shit. But nobody never has questions about that. That's right, because they don't ask questions. They just tell people that you shouldn't judge, depending upon what it is. They don't judge crackheads, but they want to judge people for being into the occult, not being in a cult, but being into the occult. They want to demonize the occult, and they expect us not to say anything because most occultists and spiritualists, we don't bother them. They're always bothering us, and then we have to respond to it. Crackheads, stalkers, weirdos, harassers. But we're not supposed to say anything. We're supposed to be like sitting ducks and just be quiet and don't respond to it. Oh, I'm going to respond. I'm going to respond. Whether it's my mother, whether it's my brother, whether it's my sister, whether it's my aunt, I'm going to respond. And I'm going to respond accordingly. They have these people in a cult worshiping a man telling you can't nobody get to the Father but me. If you want to talk to the Father, you got to talk to me first. Isn't that the same blueprint of every cult leader that we have known in history? Jim Jones, Father Divine, David Koresh, all these other, psychopathic people. And I'm not even saying that those are the words of the real Jesus Christ. But they have people up under the ritual of being in a cult. And then they expect us not to separate and put class or classisms in place. I have class. And I understand racism and all of those things are bad. I get that. But people never really looked at how classism is really a necessary evil. It's really a necessary evil. That's just like everything that's going on over in the Middle East right now. Everything that's going on over in the Middle East, I know a lot of people may not like what I'm getting ready to say, but I don't give a fuck. They should have never killed Saddam Hussein. You know why? Saddam Hussein, as horrible as he was, he and his family kept Iran in line and they kept the Middle East in line. They kept them motherfuckers in line. The Middle East was in line. Even though Saddam Hussein was a horrible dictator and eventually he did have to go, I know that. But Saddam Hussein was friendly with the United States at one time, in case people forgot. There was a certain class system in the Middle East until the United States started saying, no, we have to be more, include everybody in certain things. And the Middle East had a certain echelon. They had a certain echelon over there in that part of the world. Then the United States started sending all of their propaganda over there to the Middle East, telling them what they should accept in their countries, the ideologies that they should approve, when they don't even approve it over here or approve of it over here. Classism is a necessary evil. There are certain people we just should not be around, even in our families. But we live in a world, especially in the Black community, where we are taught to accept, facilitate, and honor our abusers and people that misuse us. And when we say no more, they turn against us. When we stand up for ourselves, they call us problematic. They call us difficult. They call us narcissists when we stand up for ourselves or other people. It's the same thing that happened with Monique in some ways. Monique was defending other people. She was standing up for herself, and they labeled her as being difficult because she would not accept their abuse. And she was in her own class. I'm in my own class level. Everybody is in their own class. And what they've done is they have made it so that you should feel guilty about being in your own class level. They want you to include people in your frequency, in your vibration that don't fucking belong. I don't even care if it's your own mother. If she doesn't belong, she doesn't belong. And we have to come up out of that if you want to. They're playing tricks and games right in front of our eyes, trying to enforce that we should have to accept certain things that doesn't go along with our frequency and vibration on a class level. And then they'll tell you, well, you think you're better. You're judgmental. No, I don't think I'm better. You just think that you can't do any better. Let me say that again. It's not that people think that they're better. It's just that you think that you can't do any better. And that's not our problem. That's how crackheads do. They gaslight you, they attack you, they try to tear you down. That's what crackheads do, whether they're smoking the pipe or whether they put the pipe to the side. whether they're sprinkling it on their marijuana or whether they're not smoking it at all. That nastiness stays with them. They have no, you can't reason with them. It's almost like dealing with a person that has no conscience. My mother has no conscience. Everything about her is fake. And it's a disrespect to call a person a mother who who has never exhibited qualities or characteristics of a mother or a father. Crack really messed up the black community really, really badly. It messed up communities across the board. And there really needs to be they keep talking about reparations and all of that. Yeah, 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 I get that. But they need to also have a panel on giving reparations to the families who have been ravaged by the crack experiment. Because they said that, and these are not my words, but it's often said in some conspiracy theories that the CIA flooded the black communities with crack. And ultimately, it affected the white communities too, but they don't talk about that for politically correct reasons. It affected the white communities too. Because I grew up in a multicultural community, and there used to be, and for those people who are from the DC area, Georgia Avenue, remember Posens from back in the day? That was owned by a white Jewish man. Everybody loved Posens. Everybody. They sold the best hot dogs, the best pastries, the best salads, the best cakes, brownies, whatever, birthday cakes. The father died and the son got on crack. But they don't talk about that, right? They don't talk about how the crack epidemic, because of classlessness, destroyed an entire generation, black and white. They don't talk about that because they want to keep white people in a certain class level. And I get it. And they want to keep black people in a certain class level. I get it. It's about survival, but it's not the truth. We're not given the truth. Just like we're not given the truth about who Jesus and what Jesus really was and what Jesus really symbolized. And it's not what people think. They use Jesus to destroy people. They use Jesus to harm people. They use Christianity to destroy and harm people and to distract you from your spiritual journey. So classism is a necessary evil because classism and being in a certain echelon of class, it keeps you safe. But they have mixed people in our vibrations that should not be there. There are certain people that I don't want to live next door to. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with class. There are certain people that I don't want to be around. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with class. The new place where I live at now, it's multicultural. Not saying it's perfect, but I live around my neighbor is a white girl. She goes with a black guy because I live in a condo. Then I'm also around family as well. Then the people that live under me, the condo under me, is a Middle Eastern family. They're very quiet. They don't bother anybody. The only people that give me problems, of course, are the niggas that live over top of me because they don't know how to be quiet. They don't know how to walk. You see what I'm saying? Class. Class. If I had my choice, they wouldn't be up there. It'd be an elderly white couple up there or something like that. Somebody that I know will know how to live. And I don't give a fuck how that offends or how that lands. But I've lived around enough black people to know black people have an issue with class, especially the ones I have been around. Let me say it that way so people won't get so fucking offended. Anyway, this is the occult view. What class are you in? Are you in the class that you deserve to be in? Because sometimes we get demoted into classes that we're not even supposed to be in. Then a lot of times we have to lower our intellect, our class to deal with people like my mother and others. And I'm just not doing that anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. If you cannot meet me on the same level, I can't deal with you. That's why I don't deal with a whole lot of black men anymore. The black men that I know, that's I know. But certain dudes, I don't fool with them because I can look at them and already tell, uh-huh, you do a bunch of drugs, you got a temper problem, you may try to harm me, which in turn will make me probably have to end up going to jail because if you try to harm me, then you know what I'm going to do to you. I already know. Oh, you clingy. You got mental issues. You're going to try to stalk. I don't fool with a whole bunch. I don't. Because it's the class thing. They have no class. Has nothing to do with their skin color, but they have no class. And then when we say things like this, oh, you're being judgmental. Oh, you're being this. No, because I'm watching too many people who are supposed to be in an upper echelon of class being dragged down into things that they should not have to deal with, myself included. I allowed my mother to be in my life only for her to verbally and psychologically abuse me. And I'm done with that. I'm no longer lowering myself into a lower class category just to deal with somebody. And I don't care who they are. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Have a good Sunday.